Star Wars, Young Jedi Knights, Diversity Alliance, Chapter 15. The world of Chroma Z boasted the most spectacular amphitheater facilities Nola Tarcona had ever seen. A broad balcony served as a speaking platform, the absolute center of attention halfway down a sheer cliff face. The balcony podium was bracketed on either side by a bifurcated waterfall, two streams of rushing water that slithered down the cliff to join again into a churning pool far below. Cold, damp spray surrounded the platform, reeking of chemicals. Nola would have found the water undrinkable. She had been inclined to try it, so contaminated was the water with natural petroleum from oil seeps, bubbling black pools near the source of the river that the tumbling falls were coated with a sheen of oil. Huddled in cliffside galleries, the gathered Chromanes watched and listened. Tossing her withered head-tail over her shoulder, Nola scanned the thousands of faces, perhaps tens of thousands, that poked out while the remainder of Chromane's bodies hid in the shadows. They were worm-like humanoids with smooth heads, smooth skins, and webbed hands. They burrowed into mountainsides and chose homes near trickling water to keep themselves perpetually moist. Their eyes were huge and round, their mouths lipless and quivering. When Nola stepped up to the podium to speak to them, the Chromans raised their voices in a thundering, bubbling cheer. The Empire had slaved the Chromans as miners, using their natural propensity for burrowing to harvest the mineral resources on hellish planets. On each slave world, the Imperials had made a practice of choosing one random Chromanian as an example to ensure the cooperation of the rest. They would drag the unlucky specimen out from the group to damp and comfortable tunnels and then make a great show of fastening the victim onto sun-baked rock where it would writhe and desiccate under the heat, oozing protective body slime until all its moisture reserves ran out, leaving only a mummified husk. Such were the excesses that humans visited upon all the alien species, Nola Tarcona thought. She bit down hard, grinding her sharpened teeth together. Before she started her much-anticipated speech, two male Chromanians emerged at the very top of the cliff, near the tumbling waterfalls where they plunged over the edge. They carried torches high above their topmost hands, keeping the hot flames as far from as possible from their sensitive wet skin. The pair of Chromans squirmed forward to toss the flaming brands into the oil-slicked water. The flames caught and traveled quickly. A sheet of fire spread, covering the surface of the water with blazing color. Twin molten banners of glory unfurled as the fiery streams surged down the cliffside to celebrate Nola Tarcona, leader of the Diversity Alliance, their most reverend speaker. The flames blazed, the Chromans cheered, and Nola raised her voice. My esteemed colleagues, my dear friends, who have also felt the crushing weight of human persecution, you do me great honor. She was well aware of the spectacular image she must have presented, framed by streams of fire. Looking at all you, thinking of the past and what you haven't suffered, I know how your memories must have left scars on your hearts, on your entire civilization, but it truly saddens me to tell you that your story was not dissimilar to what has happened to my own people, to the Calamarians, to the Bothans, to the Ognaughts, to the Rhodians, to practically every alien species in the galaxy. It makes me weep. But the fire of my anger evaporates all my tears. Nola felt silent for a moment, respecting the memory of the tortured and the dead. And let us not forget the treatment of the Wookiees, enslaved for their brawn and their mechanical abilities, nor the Noghri, whose planet was devastated and their people forced to become killers, or the Ithorians, whose verdant and sacred jungles were burned, purely out of spite. Too many others of our kindred have suffered at the hands of the human-loving empire. We must put a stop to the human reign of terror. Tarcona let out her piercing gaze, traveled along the galleries, making eye contact with individual Chromanians whenever possible. You know the truth of my words. Over your centuries, humans have brought us sorrow in countless ways. Shouts and howls of outrage exploded from the gathered Chromans as they vented their frustration at the years of oppression and senseless slaughter. And yet, she waited for them to quiet down enough that she could be heard. And yet, their very sorrow must be a harsh and effective teacher. We must remember what we have learned and never allow it to happen again. Murmurs of anticipatory excitement rippled through the galleries. Nola Tarcona gauged her audience, sensing when they were ready to go on, for her to go on. Now, humans must come to experience the full extent of our pain and share in it. Only in that can they ever truly understand what they have done. By sharing our sorrows with them, we can lessen those sorrows. Humans must understand in their hearts that we will no longer bow to their aggression. She filled her voice with all the unwavering fever of her convictions. Her remaining head-tail thrashed with agitation. And sharing our knowledge and our strength can lead us to release for all alien species, to freedom from the tyranny of all humans, for a time. Thousands of Chroman faces leaned forward, hungry for her next words. Join me in my Diversity Alliance, and we never need fear enslavement again. The crowd roared. Now she had finished, Nola felt her own heart beating with the passion of her belief. She understood the terror of this species, of all oppressed species. She felt their anger and their need for revenge, a revenge that she and the Diversity Alliance could provide. If only all races from all species worked together to demand the respect and autonomy that was rightfully theirs. She stared at the crowd, and it seemed to her that the number of worm-like spectators had doubled since she had begun her speech. High on the cliffside, out of view, several crewmen workers operated a dam mechanism that shut off the flow of water to split streams of the waterfall. The fiery water slowed to a trickle, then stopped as the last feathers of flame fell into the pool below, where they burned themselves out. At a few moments' pause, the workers opened the dams again, this time at full force. Foaming white water stampeded over the edge and still smelling of chemicals. Nola raised her clawed hands and the Chromians cheered wildly, welcoming her as a survivor. She would do her best to live up to the expectation, no matter what it might take.